Good morning. Happy Monday. Hello. Let me know if you're here. I am happy to be here. Another sunny day. Springtime is definitely in the air in all the ways that springtime does that, with the pollen, with the blooms. Tons of cherry blossoms all over the place, magnolias, daffodils. It's very exciting. I'm waiting for my tulips to come open. Good morning, Mary Beth. You're on spring break, aren't you? Hi, Marla. Hi, Alex. Hola to you too, my beautiful friends. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I got my friend here. We hope that he'll behave himself today. I am grateful for this morning, as always. Welcome in if you're just joining. It is Monday, March 29th, 2021. I'm Annie Moyer. This is Sun and Moon Yoga Studios YouTube channel. This morning, I'm thinking about the teaching from the Yoga Sutras as one of 5 of the personal observations or guidelines for living an awakened life, and that is self-study. In Sanskrit, the word is svadhyaya. Sva is the root that means self, and adhyaya means to study, to contemplate, to learn. It also means to sit down next to knowledge and to hold that knowledge. And when I think about the way these concepts show up in modern life, in the way we talk about our experiences together, there are some really fun parallels. And one of them that occurred to me this morning was this phrase that we use, that we were beside ourselves. When something shocking happens, when something happens that is unexpected or that we don't understand or we didn't believe could or should have taken place, we're beside ourselves. Usually it takes on a negative connotation. We say it when we're horrified or disgusted or shocked. Well, I'm going to offer another view, another perspective or angle on this, and say that to be beside ourselves is to actually get out of our habitual, usual train of thinking, out of the egoic lens through which we're accustomed to seeing the world, and to sit next to that ego self in a broader context of what self conjures in the yogic teachings, which is a divine universal consciousness, in which the lens is so wide open that nothing is surprising, nothing is shocking, and nothing is powerful enough to knock that consciousness off of its ground. And so through the practice of svadhyaya, of sitting next to the self and holding, consuming, digesting knowledge and wisdom, then we are always beside ourselves. In a positive sense, we are walking next to the greater consciousness that makes up who we are. And in this space, and with these steps, we can take it all in. And with this wisdom, with this study and this practice, then even the things that are horrifying and shocking and frankly wrong then we have the understanding to know how to respond. The practice this morning is going to be on the ground, and it's going to explore the different ways we can open the sides of the body so that we can be beside ourselves in a place that is consciously awake and welcoming each moment. So come first onto your back. And as you lie on your back, just take in the feeling of the ground. Take in the steady, sturdy, solid nature of the earth. And let yourself melt into it. And then feel where your heels meet the floor. And flex your toes so that the backs of the heels are pressing firmly into the ground. And begin to pedal both feet together, forward and backward, and go faster and faster and faster, so you're sloshing your body on the ground back and forth just by virtue of what your feet are doing. So the effort is only in the feet and in the flexion and extension of the ankles. We're not trying to make the body go back and forth. It just is happening. And then alternate pedaling the feet. One forward, one back and forth, back and forth. And now circle them around opposite each other, reverse the direction of those circles, and then have them go together in the same direction one way and the other way, and then shake out your legs. Now, flex both feet again and take one leg and put it, one foot, put it on top of the other. Stack the feet like two tall buildings, one on top of the other. And then you'll feel that little web behind the heel, the Achilles tendon. You can maybe slide it in between the first two toes of your bottom foot. Now take the top leg, the top foot, and topple it over across the midline of your body. So you're now twisting the whole line of the body, led by the top foot, and then you can extend your arms out by your sides and turn your head the opposite way that the feet are pointing. And you might experience this long side stretch. And then come back up, leave the feet like they are, and topple them the other direction. And now the other side of your body is stretching. Arms out, take a breath, and then back to center, unhook the feet, and pause here, shake out the legs again, wiggle it all out. And now take the other foot and put it on top and topple the feet across the midline. Extend the arms, turn your head opposite the top leg. Take in a breath. And then back to center, leave the feet like they are, so the Achilles tendon is sliding in between the big toe and the next toe, the index toe, and then turn to the other side. Turn your head the opposite way, feel a long stretch on the other side, and breathe. And then come back up, unhook the feet, shake out your legs, and pause here. Take your arms by your sides, and then inhale and reach them back behind you. And slide the upper part of your torso into a curl with both legs on the floor. And then slide, both shoulders on the floor. And now with both legs on the floor, slide the legs over to the same side. So your hips are on the ground, your shoulders are on the ground, your arms are on the ground. You've turned your head to the side that you've curled towards. And just breathe here. So you've made a sort of a parenthesis mark with your whole body from feet to fingertips. Deep breath. Notice perhaps the breath is filling that side of your rib cage. And then come back to center and over to the other side. With both shoulders on the ground, both hips on the ground. The upper torso curling to the side and the legs sliding over to that same side. Turn your head in the same direction that you're curling. Breathe into the other side of the parenthesis mark. That wide open sideline of the rib cage and the waist and the lower belly and lower back and outer hip all the way down to the feet. And then back to center. And on your next exhale, with your lengthened, outstretched arms, bring them back down by your sides. And pause here for a breath. And now bend your knees. Feet on the floor. Just take a few rocks with your pelvis forward and back. And then pause in a neutral position and sidewalk both feet over with both knees pointing up. Turn your head to that same sidewalk. Reach the opposite arm up and curl it over your head. And now add a twist by taking your knees back to the other side from which they came. And breathe. And then bring the knees up, take the arm down, walk the feet over to the other side. Raise the opposite arm. First, your knees are pointing up. Curl the opposite arm over your head. Turn your head to the same side you walked towards. And now take the knees over to the opposite side and breathe. The whole time, maintain this awareness of your solid ground and everything that's coming into physical contact with it. And then bring the knees up and the arm down and walk everything back to center. Now roll over onto your side and prop yourself up with your elbow, head in hand, and straighten out your legs. And with your head in hand, other hand can be balancing, helping you to balance on the ground. Lift the top leg. Turn the toes and the knee up, bend the knee. And here you have some choices. You can stay just like this. You might begin to straighten your leg up. You might let go of this hand that's in front of your belly and hold behind the leg. You might slide the hand up. You might bend the knee and grab a toe or an ankle or a foot and straighten the leg. Lots of choices, all of them valid. Take a few breaths. You can change in between as you're still perched on your side. Change the position of your leg and your arm. You can do some kicking and some dancing with your leg. You can do anything that feels interesting, because you are in this practice of self-study, of deepening into wisdom about who you are and who you are not. And lower the leg down. And then you can spin around to the other side, or you can just flip over. Elbow on the ground, head in hand, straighten your legs out. And then begin to lift the top leg and do something interesting with it. One of the challenges here is to remain perched on the side. So this top hip, whatever you're doing with your leg, has the tendency or the lazy desire to drop back behind you. And so the challenge could be to ask it to come forward and stay perched on top of the bottom hip so the pelvis is sideways. I'm going to keep my knee bent on this side with the flexed foot and just hook behind the knee. Because on this side, this is interesting to me. I'm in this practice to pay deep attention to the self. Traditionally, svadhyaya meant study of scripture, in which one would learn about the connection between Atman, the self that lives inside, and Brahman, the universal divine self. And to chant mantra would be to learn, to study about that connection of self. And then just very slowly lower the leg down, however you had it lifted. And now bend your knees and come up onto one hand. And take the free arm and inhale, reach it up and reach it over to the side. And you can have this arm that's beneath you off at an angle. Take a few breaths here. And now figure out which leg is your bottom leg and stretch it out down the length of your mat. And now take the top leg and step the foot over in front of your knee. And from here, we can stay put and breathe and consciously be aware of all the aspects of the self that are living and breathing inside and around this form. We can add some more physicality to it by hoisting the bottom hip up away from the ground and balancing on the foot that's flexed and extended out in front of you and the palm that's on the ground. Breathing. I'm also putting a lot of energy into this crossed legs foot, standing like a kickstand. One more breath wherever you are. And then come down, lower gently. Uncross the foot, bend both knees, pause. And come up off of the hand, and then swivel over to the other side. So we've got this arm now extended out. I think I just lost can you still hear me? I'm going to assume you can still hear me unless I see things popping up in the chat. All right, so the arm is extended out to the side. Yes. Take the opposite arm, reach it up, reach it over, and stay here and breathe. And feel your connection to the ground. Feel this profound sense of you right here, right now. Study that. sit inside of it and sit next to it. Which simply means pour your awareness into this moment. Be present for it. Recognize the arm, the hand, the legs, the belly, the ribs, the reach, the strength, the flexibility, the reality, this moment. So now take the bottom leg. If you'd like to, stretch it out. Take the top leg, lift the knee, hop the foot over the bottom knee, stand that foot on the ground like a strong kickstand, and perhaps hoist your hips up away from the ground, reach over the head with the top arm, flex the bottom foot, the outer edge of the foot is slicing into the floor. So this is just a modified side plank pose. It's a side plank pose. The word modified suggests that it's less than. It is not less than. And then slowly release to the ground. And so that's part of the self-study, is to recognize that not one is less than another. All right, take the foot back, bend both knees, pause here. And then come up to sit tall. Take your legs, one out to the side and the other knee bent. Sole of that foot inside the thigh of the straight leg. And turn and face more toward the bent knee side. Take your hand that's closer to the straight leg. Slide it down the leg. And as you start to angle the torso to the side, notice what happens with this bottom hip. Take that bottom hip and scoop it underneath and backwards a little to maintain the length in your lower back and the part beneath the waist on this side, as opposed to crumpling over and on top of it, which can create some compression and some torque on the sacrum. We're lifting up and out of it, and we're taking the hip of this straight leg and sliding it back and under. As we reach down the leg and turn the chest up, and then reach the arm up and over. Long, steady breaths. Feel both sides of the body maintain their length. The top side by virtue of the reaching arm, and the bottom side by virtue of the grounded hip sliding away from the waist. You can feel which direction the belly is pointing. You can turn it down more and emphasize the twist in the upper half of the torso. And then slowly come up, maintaining lots of length on both sides. And switch your legs. So one leg straight, and then you have a new bent knee toward which you will turn to face. And then slide your hand down the straight leg, scoop the hip of the straight leg back and away from its own leg, its own foot, as you turn the chest up and take a long, eager reach with your top arm. And take in each breath with your present moment awareness as you're sitting beside yourself which is both contained in this physical form and present all around, the energy that surrounds and enlivens us. And then slowly, slowly we rise back up. And then pull this leg in, both knees bent, feet together. And hold on to something, your knees, your shins, your ankles. Hold on somewhere and breathe. Sit tall. Breathe deeply, steadily. We might also interpret svadhyaya as simply sitting quietly with ourselves, as opposed to being and doing and engaging and reaching and texting and tweeting and all of those things that take us out of ourselves. So sitting quietly, coming back into the self. And a pure self, a self that is if this is even possible, a self that is not being colored and shifted by all of that otherness that we perceive. Another breath, another moment, another opportunity. And the longer we spend sitting beside the self, the more chance we have of recognizing the deep and abiding connection of self to all. Through those deep, abiding connections, we recognize when our personal actions are required to restore whatever it is: faith, compassion, humanity, decency, justice. All right, bring the knees together. And then with your feet on the floor, hug your knees with one arm and turn to the side. And then stay turned to the side, but straighten out the leg that's on the side you're facing. So now you're hugging just one knee. And pull the heel of the bent knee a little closer to your sitting bone. And take the arm and put it inside that knee and brace the arm against the inner knee. And flip your palm so your thumb is pointing down. Now bend the elbow, and perhaps you wrap your wrist around the front of your shin. It might not go, in which case simply have the elbow bent and the fingers pointing down. If it does go, let it go, and then take the other arm, reach it behind your back. You may find a clasp of the fingers. If so, hold on and sit tall and breathe. And then wherever you are in this sideways twist, release and switch your legs. You can simply switch the legs, or you can spin around, hugging both knees with one hand, one arm. Now straighten, and as you're turning to the side, straighten the leg on the side you turn toward. Sit nice and tall. Gather up the heel of the bent knee a little closer to the hip. Take the arm inside the knee, brace them against each other. Just step by step, and you stop when it makes sense for you to stop. Part of the self-study. Flip your palm, thumb pointing down, bend the elbow. Let it hang here, stay and breathe as you're twisting to the side. Or perhaps wrap your forearm or your wrist around the front of your shin. Take the free arm, reach it somewhere behind your back. And breathe. One more breath while you're here, and then release, and then come back to the position with the knees bent and the feet together, sitting tall. Returning to this symmetry. Your knees can be any height away from the floor. They do not have to touch down. Mine never have. I don't expect they ever will. It's okay. This is part of studying and knowing myself and how this self that's contained in the body relates to the space around it. Now let's add a little bow forward, a little fold straight down through center. And then walk the hands out in front of you. And turn to one side, reach one arm up and back. And turn to the other side, reach the arm up and back. And then turn forward, center, hang the head. Take a few breaths. Come up slowly. And then you can cross the shins one in front of the other. Take a breath here, in and out. Recross the shins. Take another breath here, in and out. We're going to add one more stretch to each side. Bring the arms up in a big, eager scoop of an inhale, and exhale over to one side. And inhale back up, and then exhale over to the other side. And then inhale back up. And a gentle float, arms come down. I thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day. And if you're watching this recording later, I hope you enjoy it. Take good care, everybody. See you soon. Oh, hi, Jane and Janet. Thank you. Thanks so much for saying so. Wow, these shadows are sharp today. Whew. Hi, thanks, Marla. Good to see you all. Take such good care, everybody. Bye-bye.